approach a recognized religion? What religion does this approach most closely align with? Is it a form of Hinduism? Or, if not, how is it different from Hinduism?
So let me take the first question first. Is this approach a recognized religion? Recognized by who? So I'm not sure what the questioner had in mind, but that's also an important question. Recognized by who? So I would say only the Siddhas, the perfected love beings of our lineage, would be in a position to recognize the efficacy of our approach. And we have thousands. This is a lineage that dates back to the pre-Bronze Age, which is a very long time ago. That's a very long time span, in which thousands and thousands of beings have been transformed by our approach here, which is not a religion. It's a spiritual approach. Here, our understanding and experience is that God dwells within you as you, as my Sri Gurudev used to say, that all are God, and that to find God, we only need to turn the mind within and upward to experience the supreme self, to experience our God nature and our God power, right where it exists inside of this physical frame. This is where God is found, and then God is also found everywhere around us. So we don't see that there is a necessity for people to be aligned with any particular church, meaning four walls and a door, or mosque, or that they have to go somewhere on pilgrimage to experience God. That's not our experience. And we're not an organized religion, because most organized religions are dogmas. Most organized religions have as a major component a belief system that may or may never have been proved, but it's a belief system that is so widely accepted that people are told to just follow it. And as a result, we have many religions on the planet for which there are supposed leaders who do not exemplify what they're teaching and don't feel that they have to. They just point to a belief system and say, well, our forefathers believed this, there's a tradition around these beliefs, and so everyone should follow, and that's the religion. But in fact, that's a dogma. And so the religion here is the religion of love and light. The religion here is the religion of the indescribable joy of the self. If it can be said that we practice a religion, that would be the religion of love, in which there is no dogma. Everything is based on experience, based on a perfect model, because we all learn best by modeling after excellent leadership, and that's an indisputable fact. And so here we follow Siddhas because they have merged with what they are now instructing others in. They've become all of the principles that they instruct others to follow. So we don't have any beliefs here. We have spiritual principles that we follow that have been tested in the laboratory of the existence of so many people, millions of people over the ages. And so this is a spiritual approach, not a religion. And is it recognized? Yes, it's recognized by the God-realized love beings who have tread the same path, who have applied the same practices and the same wisdom for permanent spiritual transformation and liberation. And so that's how I'd answer the first part of the question. And then what was the rest?
What religion does this approach most closely align with?
Well, again, I wouldn't make a comparison because that's not useful. People who come here and engage in our approach, which is known as Nityananda Shaktipat Yoga, after Sri Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganeshpuri, who's the master of our lineage in these modern times, who himself was a part of this much greater, longer, unbroken lineage, going all the way back to Dattatreya, an incarnation of Lord Shiva, that they would all say if a comparison should be made, the only comparison that can be made is, do you experience, and we have this as a question, do you wake up with your heart singing and dancing in indescribable joy? And are you able to sustain that experience throughout your day? And if not, why not? If not, that you're not completely consumed with the bliss of the self, if you're not experiencing all-consuming love for God, growing to an uninterrupted fashion that you experience that, why not? So if a comparison would be made, it would be made between why and why not. That would be the only useful comparison. Am I experiencing the state of the bliss of the absolute? If not, why not? And if there are paths, other paths out there in which people have this as a growing experience, and that they're on track to merge in such an experience, then perhaps that would be a path that our approach could be compared to. And then the other part, I think, of the question is, are we most like Hinduism? And my Sri Gurudev, who happened to hail from India, who was raised in the Hindu tradition and culture, always said, get rid of all isms. Get rid of all isms, he would say. And so again, and he would always point to the experience of the light of God, that actually it's like nectar flowing down from the highest spiritual center, the blue light. He would talk about a lot, and people in our school here have had this same experience, this shimmering blue light that pours downward from the Sahasrara, the highest spiritual center. And then the Vimarsha Maya aspect, which is that indescribable joy of the self, that if there is any religion worth following, that would be it. And so my Sri Gurudev used to say, this is the only thing I want to follow, and that people who promote isms, like Hinduism, and he was referring to dogma, and he used to say that people will always try to put you into a box, so to speak, and get you to follow a particular belief system, and perhaps take more from you than they give, and that's an ism. And so none of that applies here. There are deities, and people, when seeing images of the deities, will say these are the Hindu gods and goddesses, and I understand that because they're largely associated with Hinduism and the Hindu culture. But what people don't understand, and my Gurudev used to correct even Indian people who would come to his ashrams, making these kinds of statements, that you're a guru on a path that belongs to Indians, that belongs to the Hindu culture. And my Baba would always correct them, because the fact is, with respect to any of the deities who are called Hindu deities, for example, Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Saraswati, Durga, Mahalakshmi, Parvati, any of these deities that have these Sanskrit names that are associated with the Hindu culture, as a matter of fact, they existed, and the mantras for their beings, these names existed also long before the continent of India was named India. Long before there was ever an India, long before there was ever a government of India, long before there was ever a Hindu culture, these deities existed with these very same names derived from Sanskrit, which, by the way, is the oldest human language on the planet. So Sanskrit itself predates the continent now named India. Sanskrit itself predates any Hindu culture. Sanskrit itself predates Hinduism. It's just that because of association, the Hindu people have quite naturally claimed this for themselves, and some of them still insist, oh no, if you're using Sanskrit, if you're using these mantras, you're practicing Hinduism. But that's not the case. These things existed long before organized Hinduism ever existed with that name. And so people have to understand this, because that's the truth, and it can these things can easily be politicized, which is why my Gurudev said, get rid of all isms. Says why?